Sensational comments from Donald Trump have been leading the headlines of late, but what's going on behind the scenes in the run-up to the US presidential election to be held late 2016, and what's the knock-on effect for the world's #1 economy and beyond? Patrick Chovanec, Chief Strategist at Silvercrest Asset Management, joins me down the line to discuss. Patrick, what economic policies are being bandied around by the different candidates, and anything promising there or anything we should really be concerned about?
I think that the big frustration over the past couple of years has been that both political parties actually could potentially agree on some practical steps that would help the economy, but that has really been held hostage to their broader disagreements and particularly their desire to get some political advantage out of the areas where they disagree. So on things like immigration reform or tax reform, there are probably practical deals to be done that could actually improve the economy, but there is not the will to actually to get those things done. And so the emphasis has been, as you've seen in this campaign season, on sort of the more extreme differences between the parties.
Well, of course, Trump is a huge, albeit controversial personality in this race. He is also undeniably an excellent businessman. So if he got into power, what would this mean for American business? Talk me through Trumpanomics.
He's very much a protectionist, or at least that's his rhetoric. Wants to penalize companies, for instance, for investing abroad. I don't think we're there yet in terms of a Trump candidacy. There are two hurdles to that. The first is that not a vote has been cast actually in a Republican primary. So we'll see how things fare. And then as a general election candidate, I think some of the things that have attracted attention for him may actually be detrimental to him as a general election candidate. It might scare a lot of people away. So I think it's a bit premature to talk about what a Trump presidency would actually look like.
And Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, her policies have been likened to those from East Germany. So would she be good or bad for the States?
I think she's in line with President Obama's thinking. You'd see a more active role for governments. In particular, one of the things she's talked about is a higher minimum wage. My concern is that while I understand the frustration that a lot of people feel about stagnant wages, I'm not sure that that's really the solution. I think it could cut off the entry level for a lot of people who especially young people entering the workforce. Also, one big thing between the two parties is the difference over how to manage the healthcare system and how to rein in healthcare costs, and at the same time also provide for continued innovation and accessibility. And obviously, if the Republicans won, they've pledged to repeal or at least scale back Obamacare. And with Hillary Clinton, I think you would see a continuation of Obamacare and also a deepening of that kind of approach to the economy, a more active government role.
Okay, so bringing you back to the US elections now, and let's look at this from a global point of view. And I recently saw a Telegraph article that stated whoever wins the US presidency, the global economy will be the loser. What do you make of this?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, there's a lot of hot rhetoric that takes place during the presidential campaign. This is a funny election season in the sense that the people who everyone expected to be leading the Republican pack are almost nowhere to be seen. And Donald Trump is leading. I mean, that's a wild card because nobody really knows what that would look like, either a campaign or a presidency. But I don't think that people should read too much and count too many chickens before they're hatched. It's a long way to November, and also there's a difference between campaigning and governing.
So finally, any thoughts on the implications of the US elections for the global economy looking forwards?
The thing that we should hope for is that whatever takes place with the election, that both parties are able to find some common ground on some practical things that they could do that they actually agree on to improve the economy, improving the U.S. tax system, making the U.S. immigration system more rational. And unfortunately, those things have been held hostage to the broader ideological divide. And I think, the big long-term concern is more that ideological divide continues. Not that it will always continue, but that it continues to make incremental improvements impracticable. And that's really the broader the concern. It's not the rhetoric that people should be paying attention to. It's whether after the rhetoric takes place, whether the parties can work together to make some practical improvements that would help the U.S. economy.